All right, you coming with me? I've just landed in Philadelphia. I'm heading off to go and do a 5 chili steak Segway tour. How ridiculous and brilliant and amazing is that? But I thought we could keep each other company on the way and answer some of the questions you guys have asked me. So one of the questions I was asked quite recently is quite a good one. In this current climate, which obviously we're talking about a recession, would you still recommend students as a really good bet for tenants? And my general answer is yes. And before you just go, right, Sue, thanks, I'm just going to click off now. Hear me out. There's some good reasons, but there are some real pitfalls as well. And we probably want to talk about both so that you can mitigate any reasons why you wouldn't take students. But first, let me introduce myself while I try very hard not to get knocked down in the streets of Philadelphia. My name's Susannah. If you are one of my regulars, brilliant. Well done you. Lovely to have you back. I hope you really enjoy the YouTube videos. I've got a lot of them planned for you. And if you are brand new and this is your very first time on my channel, you're in for a treat. All my videos are divided into playlists. If you're like, okay, I'm going to learn about flipping, great, got a playlist for you. I want to find deal sourcing, great, I got a playlist for you. So just enjoy either the videos as they come out by liking and subscribing, or alternatively, just dive deep, binge into the playlist. Right, and the other thing is quite useful for you guys is I run a website called thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. It is stacked full of education that I have personally created for you that you can download straight away, because I don't have much patience. I like to get things done. And I want you succeeding in property. So you got packs, you got webinars, you got 60-day academies. You know, go and have a real good look at thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. Students. I have a lot of student HMOs. HMOs, House of Multiple Occupation, which is defined as 3 or more independent people who are not in the same household sharing a house. Let me describe my kind of properties. Typically, they're 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, or 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, because we like to give, well, I hope you can hear me with the traffic, we like to give a bit of luxury. And these days, students expect a bit of luxury. But I do have one student HMO that's only 3 bedrooms with 1 bathroom, and one student HMO that is 4 bedrooms with 1 bathroom. So there's a little bit of variation in my student HMO housing portfolio. For us in Bristol, because that's where he's leaf blowing, I'm here for Thanksgiving. So that's why you can hear him. Look at the skyline. Welcome to Philadelphia. So for me, in Bristol, we have to have licenses, and different councils will be different. So in your area, you may not need licenses for HMOs. In fact, I've got a couple that don't need a license so far, but the great majority do need licenses. So if you have not yet kind of understood the whole licensing thing in HMOs, it's quite simple. What you need to do is go onto your council's website, look at the maps or put in the postcode, and there should be something on the website to tell you whether it needs a license or not. And then you look at their kind of requirements. And typically they're going to be things like how many ovens, what size the microwave needs to be. Normally it needs to be a big one, room sizes, how many sinks, that kind of thing. They're just looking to make sure that you're not providing slum landlord stuff, that you're providing good quality accommodation, which of course you're going to, because frankly, that's the best kind of customer to get as well. Right, let's talk about the pluses. In Bristol, we've got 2 universities and we've got loads of colleges, right? So we've got loads of students. But that also means we've got loads and loads of build to rent student accommodation, either owned by major corporations or by the university itself. Is that a problem? No. Supply and demand. I am top quartile, so 75% to 80%. Really good quality houses, keep them in good nick, all nice and painted, many of them with en-suites, not all, but the great majority. And students, after the first year, they often want to move out from halls into their own homes with their own kind of social group. So it is November because I'm here in America for Thanksgiving. I'll try not to get knocked down as we go across the street. And my team, I hope the wind doesn't get you. My team are already looking to rent out the properties for next July, because all my students move in and out like on a real, like it's quite a hectic month in July and August. So we get our properties booked like 6, 7, 8 months in advance. So supply and demand, if you are a good quality product, you're going to have demand. Also, what I quite like is about 25 to 35% of my student properties get let by the same students the following year. So a real nice tip for you is don't let them to final year students, let them to second year students, because of course they're going to stay for another year. Woohoo! So that's quite nice, keeps everything nice and smooth. Other pluses, I only let properties to students who have either, it doesn't matter whether they're a parent or not, but an adult guarantor who's a homeowner. And they need to obviously run a credit check. So if the student does anything dumb, which occasionally, like any human being, students do, the homeowner has their asset on the line, so clearly they're going to be quite interested in making sure any repairs, etc., need to be paid for. So I'll always do a guarantor. Occasionally students who don't have parents or adults who are homeowners, so what do we do then? The student pays the year up front. And I've never had a problem with that. And actually I'm experimenting next year in getting students just to pay the whole year up front. Not so much because I'm like, gimme the money, but more, it's just, oh, look at this building. Look how pretty, I don't know if you can see that cute building at the top is. It's more just efficient, you know, they don't spend it. You don't need to check it every month. Your bookkeeper doesn't need to check it every month. It's really efficient. The other thing I like about student HMOs is, although it's an HMO, a house of multiple occupation, shared houses, actually everybody moves in and out on the same day. So it's kind of like a massive big single let. It's one contract, right? I will try very hard not to get knocked down. Hello, America. It's one big contract and they're all jointly and severally liable. So it's kind of like a single let, and sometimes they're going to stay for 2 years. I've never had people stay for 3 yet. What else do I quite like? I like the advance notice. I like the parental guarantors. I like that if they don't have guarantors, they pay up front. I like that you know months in advance when they're going to move in, and all the paperwork is done like 4 or 5 months in advance. I like that because I'm high product. I'll just wait until I go past this lorry. Last year, when we were renting out the student properties, 50% of my student properties, the students actually bid higher than we asked for, and we asked for good rent as well, just because my properties are really quite nice and they wanted to get in them. What do I not like? I don't want to make this personal, so it sounds a bit personal, but it isn't. They're young, they're inexperienced, they don't know how to live in a house. Now, the great majority are lovely. Of course they are. They've been well brought up kids, you know, but they still don't understand how to maintain, manage and live in a house. So every single problem, they'll be immediately on the app, on email, on phone going, sort this out for me. You know, light bulb changing, blocked toilets, just everything, you know. This plug is too small. What? Just everything. The water bill's too high. No, you do some research, it's actually cheaper than the average 5-bedroom house. So they're very, very, they're quite high maintenance. And part of that is because I presume mum and dad have done it in the past. And suddenly they're like, oh, I'm in a house, and oh. The other thing, of course, is you're always going to get at least one lot, if not more. You know, percentage of your student properties, you're going to get the party animals, and you need to tone them down quick. So we come down like a ton of bricks on party animals straight away, because they are living in a community and they've got to be kind to their neighbours. And then the final thing that I have experienced, not very often, because the majority of my tenants are really nice people, but at times, and it's been really irritating, is entitlement. They are the millennial generation. And whilst the majority of the millennial generation are great, they do have a bit of a reputation for entitlement, and that has occasionally come through with some of the student behaviours. So you just have to breathe and say, thank you very much for informing me about that. The other thing I do like about them actually is, because I don't like the entitlement at all. We had one lot this year who were like, you can't legally stop us keeping a dog. So, and the neighbours were going nuts because they'd already started to, I think they were running a dog walking business. Now, you're not allowed to run a business in the house. You're not allowed to keep pets in the house. They had looked it up and they knew that a landlord, whilst it is contractually not allowed, really couldn't evict them for that problem. So we came down like a ton of bricks and we communicated with all the guarantors and we told them that we were extremely worried that they would end up losing a lot of money at the end of the year because of the dogs. And I believe that they came down on their kids quite hard. Fine. You know, so they were very much like, they weren't at all, I'm so sorry, we're breaking the contract. They were like, you can't stop us. You think, grow up. So there's a tiny bit of that. The other thing I do like is they're very, very tech savvy. So when there are repairs, first thing you ask is, could you please send a video and could it be gorgeous of you to give as much commentary as possible? So what you're doing is you're actually doing a really efficient thing in managing the houses. Instead of sending out a handyman or a specialist plumber to say, shower's broken, you can immediately respond and say, thank you so much for letting me know. Can you send me a video? So I get all these cute videos explaining precisely what's happening, even if some of those videos are because you've had to explain to them how to switch the fuse on the fuse box, because of course they've never done it before. So, pluses, parental guarantors, booked 6 months in advance, 1 check-in and 1 check-out. If you do second years, a large proportion of them will stay for third year, so not even need to do tenant find or just any of that work. If they don't have guarantors, they pay up front. They're very tech savvy, so they can give you lots of brilliant videos for any problem that is coming up. And demand is high, and at the moment 50% of my student properties got bid more than I asked for. Minuses, they're young. So a proportion, and only a proportion, so if you're one of my students that ever lived in one of my houses, I probably don't mean you, but a proportion will be, well, I would call it ridiculous, but probably the word is childlike, because they're so used to mum and dad fixing the problems, they now are having to like trip fuses and change light bulbs themselves. So you do get more service needs requirements than you would for somebody who's 25 and lived in a few houses before. And occasionally you get silly party ones and you clamp down on them like a ton of bricks. So does the recession impact on student properties? Well, not really. Partly because they're going to get grants. So quite a few of students turn around and say, listen, my grant is coming in, can I pay the next 4 months rent? Yeah, fine. Which is why we're thinking next year we're just going to get them to pay the rent up front and see who can do that, because it's just easy for them, easy for us. But it would impact, I suppose, if the parents lost their jobs and they were the guarantors. But if we can be quite blunt about it, look at this. If we can be quite blunt about it, you're only taking guarantors who've got assets. Now, I can't imagine ever going to the point that you're suing somebody that they have to be forced to sell their house. But ultimately, the parental guarantor is backed by an asset. Otherwise, they're unable to be a guarantor. And then the final part, they're really sweet. Not all of them. But the great majority are delightful, enthusiastic, thoughtful, kind, open human beings. So, who leave chocolates and cards. So it's generally quite a nice experience. So yes, I would 100% back you, once you'd assessed your demand, for you to do top quality, top 75% quartile student HMOs, get them booked 6 months in advance, get the parental guarantors, if they can and if they want to, get them to pay up front. And the only thing I would say is maybe hand them over to a letting agent, so that they can deal with all the young, I don't know how to change a fuse, or I don't know how to change a light bulb, or can you do it, kind of malarkey thing that happens with them. Right, there you go. I'm going to go on this fantastic Segway cheese. I'm going to go and see the Liberty Bell, because it's my very first day in Philadelphia. I'm also going to go on this 5 Philly cheesesteak Segway tour. I've walked like crazy for the last 5 days around Washington, so far, and cycled like mad. Today, I ain't getting off that Segway. No calories expended. So it's just making me laugh quite a lot. And see the Liberty Bell and see where America was kind of founded. So it's quite a historic city, even if it's probably, you know, what you might call a little bit more patchy in places. So remember the website, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk, and remember also to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we've got tons of brilliant playlists and I've got a whole schedule of videos coming out for you, which I'm very excited about. That are going to be super useful to you to succeed in property. Take care, look after yourself. Not quite sure where to start managing a portfolio? Learn to Let. My lettings pack, written for you guys, you can download it now. It is all the knowledge processes systems we use to run a major portfolio. Go grab it now.